Commander Thalek adjusted the controls of the scout ship, the Dawnbreaker peering into the star-speckled void. The pulse from the station had been faint, but persistent, like a whisper in the dark. It echoed in his mind, a rhythmic thrum that set his nerves on edge. "Status report," he called, glancing back at his crew. The dim lights flickered overhead, casting long shadows across the cockpit. "Still nothing unusual on sensors," Ensign Rena Voss replied, her voice steady but her eyes betraying a hint of anxiety. "But that pulse, it's increasing in frequency. It's almost like it's trying to communicate," Thalek finished, his brow furrowing. The pulse had started as a gentle thrum, but now it pulsed like a heartbeat, insistent and urgent. "Or a warning," Voss added, biting her lip as she scanned the readouts. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through the ship's hull as they approached the anomaly. Thalek's heart raced, matching the pulse. "Prepare for deceleration," he commanded. "We need to get closer without drawing too much attention." As the ship slowed, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. The vast emptiness of space felt different here, charged with something unseen. "Commander, I'm getting some strange readings," Voss said, her voice trembling slightly now. "The gravitational waves are shifting," Thalek cut in, his voice tight. "I know, we need to." A sudden jolt rocked the ship, throwing them against their harnesses. "Rena," Thalek shouted, gripping the controls. "What the hell was that?" "Unstable gravitational fields. We're losing stability," she yelled, her fingers flying across the console. "Hold on." The Dawnbreaker shuddered violently, alarms blaring as Thalek struggled to maintain control. "Commander, we're being pulled in." Voss gasped, her face pale. "Engage thrusters," he barked, his pulse quickening. With a grunt, he wrestled the controls, fighting against the ship's descent. The anomaly loomed ahead, a swirling mass of light and darkness, pulsing with a rhythm that felt almost sentient. "Thalek," he glanced over at Voss, who was staring wide-eyed at the readouts. It's a star," she exclaimed, her voice trembling. "But it's not burning. Pull up, now." With one last surge of effort, Thalek flipped the thrusters to full power. The ship screamed in protest, the engines roaring as they fought against the gravitational pull. The star loomed larger, its surface undulating like a living thing. A deep, resonant pulse echoed through the cockpit, an almost melodic sound that made the hair on Thalek's arms stand on end. "We're clear," Voss shouted. Thalek exhaled sharply, his heart still racing. "Get us a visual. I want to see what we're dealing with." As the viewscreen flickered to life, the image of the star filled the display. It was both beautiful and terrifying, a swirling mass of colors that seemed to shift and change, a kaleidoscope of light and shadow. "What the hell is that?" Voss whispered, awe and fear mingling in her voice. Thalek's throat felt dry. "That's what we're about to find out." The pulse intensified, reverberating through the ship, and Thalek felt an unsettling sensation in his mind, a whisper that danced just beyond the edge of comprehension. "Commander," Voss said, her voice strained. "I'm picking up something else, signals. They're not from any known source." "Open a channel," Thalek ordered, though a sense of dread coiled in his stomach. The screen flickered again, and a face appeared, a hologram of Admiral Rhea Morgan, her expression inscrutable. "Commander Mar," she began, her voice cool and steady, "report your findings." Thalek felt a chill creep up his spine. "Admiral, we've encountered an anomaly. A star that appears, not a star, Commander. A containment vessel." Her words hung heavy in the air, the unspoken implications weighing down on them. "What do you mean?" Voss asked, her eyes wide. "The ancient civilizations of this galaxy buried something here," Rhea continued, her tone unwavering. "Something we should have left alone." "Buried?" Thalek echoed, the pieces clicking into place. "You knew? You've known this whole time?" Ray's gaze hardened. "It was classified. The Federation has lived in peace, unaware of what lies beneath the surface. Until now," Thalek murmured, realization dawning. "Exactly. And now that pulse you're feeling, it's awakening." A silence fell over the cockpit, the weight of her words settling like a shroud. "What do we do?" Voss asked, her voice tremulous. Containment protocols, Rhea replied, her expression resolute. We can't let this information spread. We need to neutralize the threat. The threat? Thalek's voice was tight. You mean the intelligence buried within? We can't risk a panic, Rhea insisted. If the Federation learns the truth, chaos will ensue. The truth? Thalek seethed. You mean the truth about the very force we've kept hidden? We can't just ignore this. Ray's expression turned cold. We have no choice. We're already in deep space. We need to act before it's too late. Too late for what? Thalek pressed, anger flaring within him. To save ourselves? Or to save everyone else? Both. A growing sense of dread washed over him. And what if this intelligence breaks free? What if it escapes? Then we'll deal with it, Rhea said, her voice clipped. But right now, we need to contain the situation. Thalek clenched his fists, each word grinding against his resolve. You can't just erase this, Admiral. We owe it to everyone to understand what we're dealing with. Enough, Rhea snapped, her patience waning. You need to focus on the mission. Your job is to follow orders, not question them. A flicker of rebellion ignited in Thalek's chest. You're right, he said slowly, his voice low. But if we're going to do this, we need to confront what's really happening here. We can't hide from it. Ray's eyes narrowed, the tension palpable. You're playing a dangerous game, Commander. Thalek met her gaze, unflinching. And you're playing with lives. The pulse intensified again, louder now, resonating through the ship, as if the star itself was responding to their confrontation. Commander, Voss interrupted, her voice shaking. The readings. It's reacting to us. Shut it down, Thalek commanded, a sense of urgency flooding through him. We need to get out of here, now. But before Voss could respond, the ship jolted violently once more. Systems failing, she shouted, panic creeping into her voice. Hold on. Thalek gripped the controls, struggling to stabilize the ship as alarms blared around them. Commander, we're losing power. Voss cried. Rhea, we need your help. Thalek shouted into the comms, but the Admiral's face was already fading from the screen, her expression inscrutable. Get us out, Thalek yelled, desperation clawing at him. Voss's fingers flew across the console, but the ship trembled, and the pulse from the star surged, a wave of energy crashing over them. Hold on, Thalek shouted again, but the ship began to spiral, the gravitational forces overwhelming. We're being pulled in, Voss screamed, her voice rising in panic. As the ship spiraled toward the anomaly, Thalek felt the weight of everything crashing down. They were no longer just explorers. They were witnesses to a legacy of mistakes that had sealed their fate. Thalek, Voss cried, her eyes wide with terror. What do we do? Brace for impact, he shouted, gripping the controls with all his might. In that moment, the pulse grew louder, drowning out everything else. It filled the cockpit, a cacophony of sound that resonated deep within their minds, echoing with an ancient, terrible knowledge. And then, darkness enveloped them. When Thalek regained consciousness, he was sprawled on the cold metal floor of the cockpit, the lights flickering erratically overhead. His head throbbed, and a sense of disorientation washed over him. Rena, he croaked, pushing himself up. The ship was eerily quiet now, the alarms silenced. A faint glow pulsed from the viewscreen, illuminating the cockpit in an otherworldly light. Voss, he called again, panic rising in his chest. She lay slumped against the console, unconscious but breathing. Thalek scrambled toward her, checking for injuries. Rena, wake up, he urged, shaking her gently. Her eyes fluttered open, and she gasped, her breath hitching. Commander, what happened? We hit the anomaly, Thalek said, his voice shaky. But, we're alive. Voss sat up slowly, her eyes focused on the viewscreen. What is that? She whispered, her voice trembling. Thalek turned to look. The star pulsed with a rhythmic intensity, its colors shifting in mesmerizing patterns. The whispers flooded his mind again, a chorus of voices that felt both alien and familiar. We need to leave, he said, urgency creeping into his tone. We can't stay here. But as he reached for the controls, a flicker of understanding washed over him. Commander, Voss said, her voice barely above a whisper. What if it wants us to understand? What? Thalek shot back, incredulous. The pulse, it feels like it's communicating. Like it's trying to share something. He shook his head. No, it's a trap. We can't trust it. But what if it's not? Voss pressed, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Thalek hesitated, the weight of her words pressing down on him. Rena, we don't know what it is. It could be dangerous. It is dangerous, she admitted, but it's also a part of us, Thalek. Our history, our mistakes. The idea settled over him, heavy and unsettling. What if confronting it is the only way to understand? She continued, her voice trembling with conviction. Thalek's heart raced. You want to go deeper? To what? To succumb to whatever this is? Or to find a way to stop it? Voss shot back, her passion igniting a spark of hope within him. Commander Mar, a voice echoed through the cockpit. He spun around, eyes wide. Who's there? He shouted, his heart pounding. It is I, the voice intoned, resonating through the air. It was deep, ancient, and filled with a terrible weight. Show yourself, Thalek demanded, his voice trembling. The stars shifted, and the light coalesced into a form, a swirling mass of energy that resembled both light and shadow. Why have you awakened me? It asked, its voice echoing in their minds. Thalek felt a chill run down his spine. We didn't mean to. You are here because you seek understanding, the entity said, its tone unsettlingly calm. And understanding comes at a cost. What cost? Voss asked, her voice barely a whisper. Your memories, your fears, your truths. Thalek felt a wave of nausea wash over him. You want to take them? I wish to show you, it replied, the gravity of its words hanging in the air. For the legacy of your kind is filled with mistakes. The truth of your existence lies buried beneath the surface. And if we refuse, Thalek challenged, his voice shaking, then you will remain in ignorance, and the cycle will repeat. Voss looked at Thalek, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. Thalek, what if we have to do this? No, he snapped, the fear tightening around his chest. We can't ignore it, she insisted, her voice rising. We owe it to ourselves to understand. Understanding could mean our doom. Thalek shouted, desperate. The entity pulsed, the colors swirling like a storm. Your anger is a reflection of your fear, it said, its voice resonating deep in their minds. But fear does not protect you from the truth. Thalek felt the weight of its gaze, the intensity of its presence wrapping around him like a shroud. Choose, it intoned, the stars outside dimming. Embrace it, or be consumed. Thalek's heart raced, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the gravity of their choice pressed down on him. Commander, Voss said softly, whatever it is, we can face it together. He looked into her eyes, seeing the determination there. Together, he repeated, and the word felt like a promise. Very well, he said, his voice steadying. Show us. The entity pulsed, the light surrounding them enveloping their minds, pulling them into a void of understanding. As the darkness closed around them, Thalek felt the weight of legacy pressing down, the truth unfurling like a cosmic tapestry before him. And in that moment, he understood, the past was never truly buried. It was always waiting, pulsing beneath the surface, ready to be awakened. The silence stretched, the void unfurling into an expanse of memories, visions of civilizations long gone, their arrogance echoing through time. Thalek felt the weight of their mistakes, the hubris that had led them to bury the entity in the first place. We thought we could contain it, a voice whispered from the darkness. But we were wrong. The stars twinkled around him, each one a reminder of a choice made long ago, a choice that had sealed their fate. Why did you bring us here? Thalek demanded, his heart heavy with the burden of knowledge. To show you, the entity replied. To help you understand the cost of your legacy. Thalek clenched his fists, determination rising within him. And what must we do? Face it, the entity said simply. Face the truth of who you are. As the memories swirled around him, Thalek saw the echoes of countless lives, their struggles and triumphs interwoven into the fabric of existence. Together, he whispered, feeling Voss beside him. Yes, she breathed, her voice steady. Together, the entity pulsed with energy, and in that moment, they embraced the truth. The legacy of their mistakes would not define them. They would rise from the darkness, stronger and wiser, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. And as the stars pulsed around them, Thalek felt a sense of hope igniting within. For in the vastness of the cosmos, they were not alone. They were part of something greater, a legacy reclaimed, a future rewritten. The pulse of the star echoed through the void, a reminder that understanding was the only path to survival. Together, they would face the darkness. Together, they would forge a new legacy. And the galaxy would tremble as they stepped into the light.